What's up guys, my name is Timbo and welcome to another video on Destiny 2. I'm sure you're all just as surprised as I am. With Destiny 2 Shadowkeep nearing closer and closer, I figured it would be a good time to get a refresher on what is happening in the universe, specifically with Eris Morn. It seems like Eris will be playing a pretty significant role in this expansion, being responsible for whatever evil has awakened underneath the moon's surface. While she's a pretty important character, she hasn't made an appearance in the game really since the Taken King, meaning if you never played Destiny 1 you might have no idea who she is. And even if you have been playing since the beginning, you might be in the need for a little refresher. Over the next 5 or so minutes I'm going to explain the full story of Eris Morn as quickly as I possibly can, while still being efficient, of course. Speaking of quick and efficient comes to today's video sponsor, Amino. Amino is a video platform very similar to YouTube, allowing anyone to post content to the app. But unlike YouTube, videos are created in the form of stories. Amino stories are much shorter than your standard YouTube video, only about a minute or two, allowing me to easily create videos on some of those less complex Destiny stories, as well as experiment content on other things. Different types of stories are featured on Amino's Discover page based on your preferences. You can also easily search specific keywords. I recently made a video going over everything you need to know about Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, and that video can be watched right now on Amino. To find it, you can click the link in the description or search Amino and download it from the App Store. To find my stories, just search Timbo, follow me, and that's it. Amino also has bell notifications like YouTube, so you can go ahead and hit that too so you don't miss any future uploads. By doing that, you'll be supporting this channel and me. Thanks for listening guys, and now let's get into the story of Eris Morn. Eris is a hunter and member of the Hidden who serves the Vanguard as their expert on all things Hive. There is little known about what type of person Eris was before the mission in the Hellmouth. She was no doubt a loyal teammate to her fellow Guardians, however her experiences deep within Crota's domain left her bitter, hardened, and dark, frequently leaving her rock on Cade's map. Her story mainly begins following the Vanguard's failed attempt to reclaim the moon from the Hive during the Great Disaster. Eris met with Warlock Ariana III. Together they sought to discover a way to kill Crota, the Hive Prince. At the time, Crota led the Hive on the moon and was thus responsible for the deaths of thousands of Guardians. Eris soon realized that she wasn't quite smart enough to figure out a way to kill Crota, so she and Ariana sought out the exiled Warlock Toland. Toland let them know that Crota could be defeated for good if they entered the Ascendant Realm and slew him in his throne room. While this was extremely dangerous and reckless, Eris didn't really care, as she, Ariana III, and Toland recruited 3 other Guardians to help them in their mission. Their names were Vel Tarlo, Omar Aga, and Sai Mota. After landing on the moon and walking towards the Temple of Crota, Eris began to worry that their light would not be enough for them to emerge victorious. Others like Ariana told Eris that they could take the blades of their foes if necessary, but Eris was deeply troubled by the idea of using a weapon of the darkness. Deep in the tunnels of the Temple of Crota was when the fire team suffered their first casualty, as Vel was overwhelmed by Thrall. Clearly he didn't bring his Fatebringer. Unfortunately, things only got worse from there. Eris, Omar, and Toland were separated from Ariana and Sai soon after Vel's death. Toland urged Eris and Omar to hunt the Eyes of Crota, kill them, and then follow their draining light to wherever Crota waited. This plan also failed, as Eris was separated from Toland and believed Omar to be dead after another encounter with the Hive. As their numbers continued to dwindle, Eris heard screams from below and followed them into the darkest chambers of the Hive. It was there where she was reunited with Omar. Omar was captured by a wizard called the Heart of Crota, and Eris watched in horror as the wizard flayed the light from her fellow hunter and used it to feed newly spawned Thrall. This is the reason why people cheese Crota, just makes it a whole lot easier. Bring your Sunsingers. With the entirety of her fire team presumed dead, Eris sat down with her ghost, drained of light. Against all odds, Eris was able to survive in the Hellmouth Warrens for years, using their own dark tactics against them. She lost her eyes to the Hive, but ended up replacing them with those of a Hive enemy, the third eye included. A really great look if you ask me. In her time there, Eris learned tons about the Hive, its hierarchy, and how to wield some of their magic. She also had access to a copy of Toland's now famous journal, which helped her survive the Warrens and expand her knowledge of the Hive. Eris eventually escaped the Hellmouth and returned to the last city alive. While the Speaker and Commander Zavala believed her to be untrustworthy, Ikora secretly employed her as a member of the Hidden, a group of Guardians who serve as the Vanguard's unofficial spy network. Despite working for Ikora, Eris also conspired with Osiris and Queen Marasov. Eris informed Ikora that the Hive were becoming more active. She asked Eris to stay at the tower, telling her that she would convince the other Vanguard leaders to listen to Eris, while also promising to find Guardians to aid her. Eris then helped the Guardian, also known as Us, to slay Crota's swarm princes, the Sword of Crota, Sargon the Fist of Crota, the Wakers of Crota, and even Crota himself once and for all in the Ascendant Realm at his Oversoul throne. But problems with the Hive didn't end there, as Crota's father Oryx heard of his son's death and headed towards Earth to exact revenge. Eris turned her attention to Queen Mara Sov of the Reef. Eris met with Mara and Osiris in the Reef and began plotting to end the Taken King, keeping all of this a secret from the last city. Eris also secretly met with the Queen's brother Uldren and came up with a plan. The Awoken would prevent Oryx's fleet from entering the inner system, while Eris would help the Guardians enter the Dreadnought and defeat Oryx. While many lives were lost in the ensuing battles, Oryx was eventually defeated once and for all. After this, Eris aided the Guardians in cleaning up the mess, taking down the rising contenders to Oryx's throne, such as Alakul and Malak. Time went on and events such as the Festival of the Lost and the Dawning occurred, but Eris still kept all of her attention on the Servants of the Darkness that still lingered. She met with an old friend in the hospital, the warlock Asher Mir. She told Asher that her time in the city was over, having accomplished all she had set out to do there. She had supposedly found a new way to eliminate the Hive, but could not find it within the city's walls. Eris then left and wasn't heard from again for quite a long time. She mentions building a ship since Kay destroyed her last one. It is possible she made contact with the Guardians in the Dreaming City, but the identity of the sender is unclear. And that brings us to today, where Eris makes contact with us again, having awakened an unknown ancient enemy deep within the moon. There are theories as to what has happened. You can check out mine by clicking the card in the top right corner, but until Shadowkeep comes out, there's no way of knowing for sure. And that's gonna do it for today's video. I'm hoping I was able to cover the most important information and stick around that 5-minute mark, not including the intro and promotion of course, but we'll see how long the video ends up being. If you enjoyed it, a like is super appreciated. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.